Maybe some of you have seen this before, maybe some of you haven't. The first time I ever seen this image was when I walked into my academic advisor's office to withdraw from my calculus class. We talked a little bit about the poster, and she talked to me about how this is what my journey will look like. That there will be bumps in the road, but that there will be opportunities for me to get back on track in my college career. We talked a little bit about my options for my calc class. She told me I could retake it next quarter here on campus, or I could go to Cuesta, or even try taking it online. And this kind of sparked my interest a little bit, because I didn't know about these other options. So I wanted to take a deeper look. And here's what I found. Cal Poly has a policy that basically says you can take units outside of campus, like Cuesta or online, that will count towards your degree, but they will not count towards your full-time status. In other words, you have to be enrolled in at least 12 units here on campus, with units outside. And this is something I don't necessarily agree with. I think that these outside units should count towards your full-time status. But before we talk about why I think we should change this, I think we should look at why Cal Poly has this policy in the first place. I found that Cal Poly has this policy because it forces students to take 12 or more units at minimum. Cal Poly really pushes students to take at least 15 on campus because it helps get us on track to graduate in 4 years. But why is graduating in 4 years so important? After doing some research, I found an article titled Cal State Pushes Students to Graduate in 4 Years by Larry Gordon, published in 2016 by Education Source, that basically stated, CSU schools, Cal Poly included, were given an incentive of $35 million grant to get more students to graduate within 4 years. In other words, it's important to Cal Poly for us to graduate in 4 years because it makes them look better and will get them the grant that they so desperately want. On the other hand, one reason why it might be important for us to graduate in 4 years is because it'll hurt our pocket if we don't. Staying longer means more tuition that needs to be paid. Cal Poly's financial aid website released an article titled Undergraduate Cost of Attendance, and it found that $29,000 was the average cost of continuing year here at Cal Poly. As much as we all want to graduate in 4 years, we all know that sometimes this isn't possible. In fact, College Factual found that when looking at Cal Poly's graduation and retention rates, that out of the first-time full-time students, only 40% of graduates, or only 40% of those students were able to graduate in 4 years. But after 6 years, 79.9% of students were able to graduate. As in, that's almost double the amount of students who were able to graduate in those 2 years. But sometimes this isn't always the case. Because so many students aren't able to graduate in 4 years, Cal Poly took a look into what exactly are the obstacles that students face. Their report, titled Draft Student Success Plan, found that obstacles can often include personal life, financial issues, and balancing work or internships. Those students who face these obstacles often find themselves taking on less than 12 units to be able to balance the demands of life. But here's why this is an issue for them. When you take on less than 12 units or become a part-time student, this can often affect your financial aid or academic or athletic scholarships that you can receive. The FAFSA's website, under their federal Pell Grant article, basically tells us that aid is based on the student's status, whether that be full-time or part-time. Dropping below part or full-time means that you won't be receiving as much aid as you would normally if you were a full-time student. But if better options such as Cuesta or online help you balance the demands of life, these can help you get back on track if they were able to count towards your full-time status. So before I conclude, I want to follow back on my main points, which are that although Cal Poly really wants us to graduate in 4 years, sometimes this isn't the case for us. Life gets in the way and demands a lot from us. But the important part is that we find the opportunities to be able to catch up and get back on track. If Cal Poly were to allow these outside units to count towards our full-time status, It would give us the quarter or two we need to be able to catch up and get back on track. I want you to take one last look at this image. This is what your college journey will look like. We need to push for a policy change that will not only benefit maybe ourselves one day, but other students in the classroom we sit next to who may need the help also. You can make this change by contacting your ASI president, Mark Borges. If you propose this change to him, he can get this through to the board of directors, and we can see this change on campus. Think about a policy change that will help you and others.